I don't think there's a bad perception for the image of the fighting game community. I think a lot of it is due to just individual mistakes that a lot of people make. I mean, everyone makes mistakes, and you'll see this across competitive gaming, like in general. But a lot, like I said, I mean, there's obviously a lot of things from sexism, racism, and stuff like that. And I don't associate that with the fighting game community. I mean, that's just people in general, and that kind of stuff happens. So, in no way, shape, or form do I think that the fighting game communities are solely responsible for stuff like that. I mean, when I think about the fighting game community, I think only about positive things.
I think when it comes down to it, the core people in the fighting game community, they are very respectful, and I realize that I know like a lot of people represent the fighting game community as a bad way, but in the long run, I think everyone in the fighting game community is very acceptable to anyone, like any transgender or any male or female or just anybody in general. You know, like everybody comes together just to play the fighting games, especially if you love it.
I don't know if I can necessarily say it's tarnished us as a whole. I think, I don't know. Personally, I don't mind our image right now. You know, I don't want to say we're looked down upon, but we're definitely looked at with an awkward eye. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just who we are. Not saying that we're, you know, sex offenders or, you know, sexual assaulters, whatever you will. It's nothing like that. But it's just, we definitely have our own niche and our own feel. We're just different. That's all I can say. We're just different. I actually don't necessarily feel it's been bad PR to an extent. I mean, definitely, you know, you look at this, you take some websites out there. I mean, I guess the most notable one is Kotaku. Every time, you know, something bad, possibly bad happens in the FGC, Kotaku is so quick to put us on blast, right? But meanwhile, there's so many other, you know, websites such as Event Hubs and SureYouCan.com that put out the good in what we do. So, you know, you got to you get a little good and a little bit of bad. It's kind of mixed, but I think we're okay, and I think we'll be fine.
I think it's very different from Singapore in the past, where in the past there's a lot of gangsterism in the arcade and stuff. Like it's seen as a gangster game, you know. But now I think a lot of people, you know, people who studies and there's a different kind of people is playing it. It's not, the image has changed a lot.
It's really, this reputation, it's very hard to fix because where the fighting game community grew up from, they grew up from a very underground community where a lot of people are saying like a lot of profanity things and everything. But now, since there's streams and then all these people want to be part of the fighting game community, you kind of have to watch your tone. But some people still say those type of words, but that's just because that's them. They don't want to change and they don't want to change themselves. But there's also people that do want to change and help the scene better, and you know that's why those people are out there.
Well, I mean, just with my only advice on how we can kind of fix our image is just to keep going at a positive attitude, keep being positive. That's it. That's just how I was raised. You know, no matter what kind of negative stuff is thrown at you, keep going in the right direction, and eventually things will fix itself.
I think it's really up to us to make sure that we just focus on the games and we focus on growing our individual communities. And I mean, fighting games in general, it's not just fighting games, it's a whole bunch of different communities coming together as one. And what better way to do that is just to focus on not only the new titles, but also the community of its players, the content that we make, and just making hype stuff.
The biggest challenge for the fighting community is pretty much trying to get eSportish, you know, like there's whole StarCraft, League of Legends, Dota, like they want to get on that level. But it's very hard because the community is scared that if it does go that level, the smaller tournaments might just get overshadowed. But you know, no one wants to do that. Like for me, example, I would just attend both tournaments just because, you know, that's where I grew up from, and also it's a better opportunity if you're like a top player and you want to get like more money. I think if they want the fighting game community to accept it and also to be improved, it just takes time. Like some people are just very like worried about it, but now more people are accepted. Like for example, the whole MOG wanted to get all these fighting games, but they couldn't get the Capcom games. But they got like Tekken, they got Mortal Kombat, they had KOF, you know. So and those communities accepted MOG. So sooner or later, if Capcom does give MOG a chance, they'll probably get accepted. And there's also the announcement that came out with the WCG China where they got Street Fighter 4. So that's definitely a big step already.
I think the main problem is because these fighting games, people have to put in effort. It takes a long time to start, and you have to actually buy the game and have an Xbox or PS3 or actually goes to the arcade.
I think the popularity of fighting games compared to the other games that you mentioned, like Dota 2, StarCraft, League of Legends, I mean, it really comes down to direct publisher support. And obviously you see with Dota, League of Legends, and StarCraft, they obviously have a lot of support from the game creators. So one of the things I'd like to see in the future is more of the game companies putting more into not just the game, but also the community itself. I think Capcom did a great job with the Street Fighter 25th Anniversary series of events, and that was just really a good thing at the right time for the fighting games. I mean, obviously you got to see some of the best players in the world go at it, and stuff like that is really what inspires people to not only just keep playing the game, but also to like share. I mean, like the videos and the archives of the broadcast afterwards. It was such an impactful thing that people kept watching it like for like months and months afterwards. And I think cool stuff like that, as long as game companies support their titles, the fans will stay there and they'll support it as well.
I think for the FGC to get on the same level as League of Legends or Dota 2, in terms of popularity, is one. I think the fighting games got to be free, just like League of Legends is, and Dota 2. I mean, it doesn't. That's what's going on. It's got to be accessible, and one way to do that is releasing it on PC. Yes, it's there aren't really it's not really a known history to have PC fighting games, but somebody's got to start it. Somebody's got to take a stand, or else we're going to be in the same stalemate for the rest of our lives.